Well, here we are, CRKT, and we're going to go through a ritual today, or should I say the ritual, by Mr. Alan Folts. Yeah, knife maker extraordinaire, and of course a collaborative designer on this knife with CRKT. And this is all kinds of crazy, isn't it? When I saw this, I said, yes, I must own one. And yes, I think in my CRKT collection, and I've got like the Carnifex and the full-size Fossil and some others, and this one, yes, this belongs in there as well. Look at you, got a backspacer. Obviously, it's a blue-coated something or other. It's probably, yeah, it's magnetic. And so is this bolster and stuff. But this is ivory micarta, believe it or not. That's what it says, at least on the specs. And then CRKT stepped up their game, and they put 12C27, which they're not even claiming here, but 12C27 steel, which you think may not be a super steel, but when you're talking about CRKT and most of the things being at 1.4116 steel or an 8CR13, all of a sudden 12C27, it feels pretty damn good. So, hey, Sandvik steel, let's get right uptown. And we got ambidextrous thumb studs. This is an assisted opening. There's your lockup. 25%. You got some jimping on this pass through. Let it drop. And it'll drop a certain amount. And then, of course, you got to load the spring up. No jimping on the flipper tab. Flipper tab's not too obtuse, so it's pretty appropriate for this. Middle finger flick, yes. And of course, you just got to start it out and it's going to go because it's assisted opening. Oh, hold on. Okay, so blade play lock rock? No. Centered? Yes. Big knife? Yes. Who's man enough to try and step up to it? Oh, okay. All right, a little Civivi action here. And this is 9 inches. Okay, my Vexer. Woo! Next. Okay, this is stepping down in size even from that. There's your paramilitary too. So this is a big knife. So I thought that was cool because it was big. I thought it was cool because it has got that Persian flair. I mean, no question there. And you got these steel liners. I thought it was intriguing because the Sandvik steel. It's intriguing because it's ivory micarta. And it ain't cheap. It's $82. Oh, by the way, if you go to White Mountain Knives, just remember, no, do not pay $82, okay? Take $8.20 off. So then where are you? In the mid 70 something dollars for this knife. And they aren't charging tax right now or shipping, so that's mid 70s all in delivered. And of course, you got thumb studs, stainless bolster, ivory micarta handle, blah, blah, blah. Okay. 12C27, and then somewhere on the second page over here, they credit Alan Folts with the design. I think he's from Florida. I can't remember if it was Melbourne, Florida, or somewhere in there. So, let's throw the tape on it, by the way. And, you know, how do you measure a blade like this? We're going to do it just like this. We're going to go acrossways, so we're not going to follow the curve. So 4.5-inch blade at, 115 centimeters. I mean, at 115 millimeters. Sorry about that. And then we're not at 10 inches, but we're 9.75, 9.8 something at 25 centimeters. We're not quite 10 inches, but yeah, that's a big knife. Let's throw the calipers on it. We got, contoured handles, okay. They're not real grippy, obviously. It's like a polished micarta. 0.57 of an inch, 14.4 millimeters as far as thickness of the handle. So that's pretty meaty. And then this is just 3.1 millimeters at 0.12. So 3 millimeter thick blade, yet this is pretty thick. And it fills your hand up. Ergos are kind of, I could feel this. See, yeah, let me see. See how this goes? It'll come up, but then it levels out. Yeah, not so, and where it's hitting me is just kind of in this little, so that's okay. This right here, it comes up, but it doesn't level out, and it's hitting me not in a convenient place. It's right in the middle here. So, yeah, I can feel it, okay? Is there plenty of room? There's a lot of room. Maybe some of these areas were a little much because really, I'm in the middle here. I'm in the middle here. If I had a lot bigger hands, this might be really for you, okay? So if you got big hands, this is good. If you got much smaller hands, you might be able to get both these fingers here, both these fingers here, and have like 25 acres out back. You still got to cut. Yeah, but okay. So reverse grip actually feels a little bit better because I'm just backing up my little finger right there, and I'm coming right up hard on that, and that actually feels better. But yeah, so it's got some stuff. Oh, let's grab a piece of paper. Oh, okay, we got a hold of the paper finally as we moved on down. Okay, not bad. Not bad. Not the best. I mean, I've seen scary sharp where the paper jumps out of the way practically. This is not scary sharp, but I've seen stuff with a factory edge that wasn't as sharp as this. So this is kind of fair to middling as far as sharpness goes. Some of that, like cold steel knives and stuff, if you guys have had those, they get scary, crazy sharp, and that's really good. I mean, the sharper the better. This one's mid-grade, mid-grade, but not bad. It's cutting paper, blah blah blah, and it's 12C27, and you can maintain it. It's just it's going to take a little bit more technique, like on a strop or whatever. So, but it's interesting. It's probably not one I would do a lot of practical cutting with. This is more for show. But I mean, it's got a real blade, and it's solid, so you could do things with it. It's just, this is the Vexer, yes, practical. Paramilitary too, practical, and a lot of budget knives, very very practical, and this one not. But I mean, it's definitely. I mean, even somebody who might want to display it, it might be interesting because onlookers, I think, will find it fascinating from that standpoint, even though it's really not a true enthusiast knife because of the materials. This is not anything exotic. I mean, it's basically a budget production knife, but I mean, fascinating design to where it kind of brings that extra to the party. So let's find my balance on it. Yeah, there it is. There's my balance on it. The design flow, it's great. This goes right into the bolster. This here, let me see, blade to handle length, and I think we're really all there. I cannot feel the tip of it. Kind of cool how it disappears into the handle. So that's kind of fascinating. I don't expect a whole lot with CRKT. It's not like they're doing a very exclusive and having line steel manufactured or something like they do on a few of their very high-end knives that they put out every once in a while. Check the pocket clip out. It's right-hand tip-up only. And I talked about it a little earlier, but check this. I mean, at least you got flat screws here, and it's deep carry. And it looks like they've skeletonized the liners, and which means, of course, we're going to take it apart. All right, folks. I mean, here comes the moment of truth, right? And we've got the ability to get in from both sides, and it gets a little scary because you go, which side is it going to break loose from? And is the whole damn thing going to turn? And it's not all turning. I can feel that it's stable on this side, but I just don't know where the screw goes in or out, front or back. You know what? It's coming out the back. Okay. I mean, so far so good. It looks like they had a little white thread locker on there, but and of course with this crazy spring, I'm not sure how excited I am about doing much more than just kind of exposing the working parts, but not necessarily a complete disassembly. And there goes that one for the bolster. And you know what? We're going to have to, actually, we're going to have to take the pocket clip because we got a screw right underneath that pocket clip. So we're going to have to remove the pocket clip to get to the other body screw. So, yeah, it'd have been better if I could have, to disassemble it from the front, because I wouldn't have had to remove this, but okay. See that, what I was saying? There's the screw here that you just can't get to until you take the pocket clip off. At least these screws are coming out, which you never can take anything for granted when you're disassembling a budget knife. And I feel more comfortable disassembling something like Civivi knives rather than CRKT, because I never know how it's going to go with these. Okay, so there's your micarta and there's your stuff. Okay. Here's your bolster, and we took the bolster and the pivot thing out, and there's the back side of that. Okay. It is what it is, and let's put these puppies together. Okay, now, do we have more screws? And yes, we do. And even when we look under here, yeah, they machined for those screws there. Okay, hold on. So apparently the assist on this must be coming from the front side, and it's not like some assisted opening knives and or axis lock knives where like the Omega springs go both front and back. Okay, here's that. And that seems like it's unscrewed. So, okay, let's relieve the pressure on here and see. Okay, let me see. I finally give it a little bit of my wedge. I think I broke my end of my wedge off a couple of weeks ago, but it still works as a wedge. And can we convince you to come out here? What am I holding on to? Oh, the spec here. This has got to come out. See, it wasn't, and now it is. That was strange. Okay. I kind of felt like something needed to go there, but it wasn't unscrewing anymore. Okay, so we've got this liner off. And we've got little teeny pieces of black plastic all over. Okay, that looks pretty clean. So let's move all this gumption here. And yeah, we do have bearings on the pivot, and why they didn't give the little IKBS logo on here, I don't know. But that's what you got. And you do have, check here, a D-shaped pivot, so that kept that from moving. And you can see on the back side here, okay, so there's a spring on that, and had we taken it off that way, we'd have taken everything apart. But there's a spring, and it'll come into a little cavity here, but then the end of this spring sticks into the blade here, okay? And you know, so you can wind it up so you can do what you do. Now, it's doing it from this side here, okay? It's doing it from this side here, and yes, I feel it. There it is. It's in here, okay? It's in that hole. Now, from this side, the detent ball is what's going on. But that, I mean, if you de-assist this, that detent ball is not strong enough, not making enough contact to do anything. So it's not going to help. I mean, check my Leon Ma Lanny that CRKT did. I de-assisted it, and no go. Okay, so you really got to stay with this. And there's my stop, and here's my bearings, okay? And so here's the rest of it. And really, to maintain the knife, you don't need to get into this unless, and I've seen it before, where there's debris that gets into that little area where that spring sits, and it can mess things up. So sometimes you might have to, if it's a user knife and you really get into a lot of dirt and debris and stuff, it's possible to get debris up in under here, under this liner, between the liner and scale. So you might have to do that upon occasion. Okay, and so you can see, you know, that they skeletonized this area. This is the presentation side, by the way. And then skeletonized the lock bar side as well. And you can see the jimping along here. It kind of helps you make contact to disengage the lock bar. And you can see that you got this squared off area right there. So, you know, that pivot sticks in there and keeps this end from turning. So that's good. At least they did that much. I can name you some knives that don't. So that's fine. So, I mean, we can, you know, you can take it apart, you can clean the knife, you can reassemble it, and do it from the backside so you don't really have to get into the spring, but it's not as complicated as an axis lock knife, that's for sure. Let's lay this down. And, well, I need to put my stop back in here too. Let's see where I am. Okay, got the stop, and then let's put some bearings on here. These bearings, you've got almost a 10-inch knife with 115 millimeter blade length. Those bearings, really? I mean, you couldn't put a bigger set than that in there? I mean, you could have. And I would have. Give a lot more stability to the whole setup. You know, when you spread these bearings out, you could have brought them out a little bit at least before interfering with like the detent track or whatever. And there you go. So we've got that locked down, and then we got to put these screws back in here. So let's put the hammer down back on this. This was strange. It was turning and turning, but not really unscrewing, and that made it difficult because I had to put kind of some leverage on here to get this one to follow up. And sometimes you do. You got to put a little pressure from behind it to kind of help bring it up out through the threads. Sometimes. And that was the case here. Set your butt down in here. Okay, we're good. We're locked down. And then we got the underside of here where, obviously it's machined out to get this over the top. And then this screw, of course, has got to get tightened in first before you put the pocket clip back on. And might as well go a next one on this and put the bolster back on, and then the outer pivot. Well, plus, of course, we got another screw in the bolster to nail down here, and let's do that before we tighten this up too much. We got a hair on there. Come on, folks. Here. Oh, that ain't gonna work. Number 6s. I love it. Now, if they just stay with number 8s on all their body screws, how wonderful would that be? You don't have to do this garbage back and forth and back and forth. Okay. We're tightened. We're tightened. We're tightened, and now let's just throw this back on, and these screws need to come off of here. Okay, let's do them one at a time. They look the same length, so I'm going to push it. We'll push it through. Okay, like that. And then here. And get it started. And then I want to get this other one down through here. And just like that. Okay, so this and this. Let's make sure we're squared up on our threads. Okay. Okay, let's tighten this down. Okay, now let's figure out where our action is, and are we centered? Reasonably well. Okay. Okay. Drop. Now, are we... There's no play. I think we're centered. Okay, we're back. We're back. The ritual. Yeah, so this is not as difficult to disassemble as I thought it would be. And so, I mean, the spring on just the one side assisted, if need be, you can take that off too, and it's not going to be that difficult to reassemble. But you can do it from the backside, open it up to at least service it without even messing with the spring. Not too bad. Yeah, I like it for the looks and stuff. And, I mean, there's a lot of things that the hijinks that's in G10 that Ken Onion did. I like that. I like the Carnifex. I like the Fossil. I like this. I like the Yo Jumbo. I mean, there's some CRKT knives that I think are really cool. And so this is going to be amongst the ones that I want to hold on to as far as CRKT goes. Thank you for hanging out. Hey, think about subscribing to my channel. And you know what we do? We love them knives, so you guys stay sharp.